Hey everyone, it's Brian here from Massey's Main Entertainment. We're jumping back in here again to build our perfect album. We're all the way up to 1989, finally closing out the 80s. Quite the journey here, reminiscent of my teenage years, so it was kind of fun to do for sure. Joined today, I got Rich Strickler with us. Rich, say hi to everybody.
Howdy.
Rich got his own channel. I'm going to post a link down below to there. We also do a tandem video that has the top 10 movies that have come out in 1989. We will be filming that for Rich's channel. We put that over there, so that way when you watch our video, you can just click on the link and go over to Rich's video and watch the movies as well. Also joining us today is Doc. Doc, who always brings us the Canadian flavor every once in a while, and we know he's going to bring the hard rock tunes, so he keeps us kind of honest in that regard. So we're all the way to 1989, guys. We're finally finishing out the 80s, and I know that going into the 80s, some of us were not too happy about trying to do this, but actually, hindsight being 2020, the 80s really wasn't that bad. What do you think?
I agree. The only year I had a problem with was 1988, and I had to scrape the bottom of the barrel and bring out Bobby McFerrin. But other than that, I was able to complete the list on every year. So I'm pleasantly surprised. I can't say I'm looking forward to the 90s, but I'll get through it.
I think you're right. Rich. The 80s, it wasn't bad, man. There's some pretty good music in the 80s, man, and lots of stuff that's still enjoyable these days. To Rich's point, I think the 90s is going to be a little bit more of a put us to the test a little bit more. I think that actually it'll filter out things too as we move along, because music's changing then too. So but the 80s, 80, 89, I think we've all probably got something pretty solid in front of us right now, and we'll probably cover off a lot of the bases like we usually do.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I always was worried because in history always says that we don't end decades very well. And I maybe after 88, I was sitting there going, man, I hadn't even looked at 89 at that point. I'm not looking forward to looking at 89, just based on what top 40 was when I was a kid. Thank God I stayed away from that stuff, because I'm like, oh my God, I wouldn't have been able to come up with 12 if I had to go buy that stuff now. So,
yeah.
But tonight's the order is going to be Rich. Rich, you got to lead off for once here. I know that's kind of a bummer for you. And then I'll follow you. And then Doc is going to bat the cleanup tonight. Just a reminder to everybody, check out our other videos from 1965 all the way up to 1988 as well. We put a lot of work into those videos. Like, sub, comment. I love seeing the list that people leave below in the comment section, because sometimes they leave songs that I had never heard of. Yeah. And then I go listen to them. Ends up on a playlist of mine somewhere. So I think it's really cool. And we also post our Spotify list as well down below in the description. So click on those links if you want to listen to some of the music that we choose. So we really appreciate all the support that we get and the people who take the time to watch our videos. So
absolutely,
Rich, you're going to lead us off, my man. Okay. So
here we go.
I'm chomping at the bit, as they say. I just want to give a little precursor. Out of my 12 songs, 10 of them are artists that are in my wheelhouse. 2 are rather newer artists to the 80s. So we'll see how this plays out. And remember, only one song per artist. That's one of our rules as well. So I'm kicking it off with Billy Joel, "We Didn't Start the Fire," from the Stormfront album. I like this song.
Nice.
It's kind of fast-paced, and he's talking about significant political, cultural, sporting events that happened in his lifetime. He turned 40 years of age in 1989. He was born in 49, obviously. And it covers all those events from 49 to 89, pretty much in chronological order. And he comes up with rhyming schemes. It's kind of clever, catchy. Mickey Mantle, Doris Day, all that kind of stuff. JFK, Blown Away. What else do I have to say? It's really interesting kind of songwriting, different from anything I had heard up until that point. So I like it. "We Didn't Start the Fire" is number 1. My second song on side A is from Eric Clapton, another one of my go-to guys from the Journeyman album, "No Alibis." This is kind of a heartfelt, bluesy vocal here by Eric. Great guitar work as usual. Really tears it up on the solos. And Daryl Hall of Hall & Oates does the harmony vocal, and I think they really play off each other very well on this.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, excellent. Really, you can hear his voice loud and clear when it comes in with that blue-eyed soul kind of thing. that Daryl Hall gives you. And also Chaka Khan does a backing vocal on this. That whole album I like, Journeyman, but this is the one song I picked. I could have went in a couple different directions. My third track is from Bonnie Raitt off the Nick of Time album. Thing Called Love, a song written by John Hyatt, kind of a mini hit, I guess, a cover song. She plays a good slide guitar. She's got the soulful voice again. I think she's an underrated female artist as far as talent's concerned, because she does play guitar as well, and she has dabbled into some songwriting. Great vocalist. If you like that kind of music, I recommend that. Thing Called Love. That's Thing Called Love. Very catchy. I'm going to slow it down a pace on my fourth track, Van Morrison, off the Avalon Sunset album. Have I Told You Lately, which is a love song. Rod Stewart covered it into the 90s, 93. Both versions, in fact, hit number 5 on the charts. So they equal that way. You can't take one over the other. It depends if you like Rod, you go Rod's way. You like Van, little Irish brogue or whatever he's give Scottish, whatever. He's Irish, Northern Ireland. So you go that way. But beautiful love song, touches the heart. I know women love this song, and you hear it played at weddings a lot. Have I Told You Lately? My fifth track is from Roy Orbison off the Mystery Girl album, You Got It. Anything You Want, You Got It. This was released posthumously 3 weeks after he died of a heart attack. He died in 88. This came out January of 89. He's got the one-of-a-kind voice. Nobody sings like Roy Orbison. You could pick him out of a million singers. It was recorded in Mike Campbell of the Heartbreakers' garage, of all places. Produced by Jeff Lynne. Written by Orbison, Jeff Lynne, and Tom Petty. They all are on background vocals here. They were doing the Wilburys at the time, so this was
exactly,
side project. Roy wanted an album out. He got this sort of a comeback, and unfortunately he passed away right in the middle of it. So my closer on side one is, speaking of Tom Petty off the first solo album, Full Moon Fever, I Won't Back Down. I love this song. Very inspirational song for anyone going through some adversity or struggles or challenges in their life. Could be a life-threatening illness, could be depression, could be a physical setback. It's very relatable. I won't back down. There ain't no easy way out. All those kind of lyrics. Back against the wall. I'll keep this world from dragging me down. So I enjoy it. Again, produced by Petty, Lynne, and Mike Campbell. Written by Petty and Lynne. So everything was happening in the late 80s for that group of artists. So that's how I'm going to end side A.
That's good. Yeah, I don't have I don't have any hits, but I have something from an album that you picked, obviously. Okay. I listened recently to Mystery Girl from Orbison because I had listened to some earlier stuff of his, and I like the title track off of it quite a bit. I mean, I really do. And like you said, that falsetto voice, it's just, I have not heard a falsetto voice as pure as that one. I mean, that's a pure one.
Yeah,
it's beautiful. Yep,
it never wavers. Wouldn't you love to be able to just sing like that? I mean, it's unbelievable. It's effortless.
Yeah, I know. Usually, you see artists struggle to hit those notes when like Dwight Yoakam and those guys who try to hit those notes, and they struggle. So
Orbison's voice is incredible. I mean, it's maybe like a top tenor in the history of the music that we listen to, man. It's right up there. This guy can sing.
Yeah.
And I've got some representation album-wise from you, but like Brian, I don't think there was any hits on that one, brother. So
okay, that's all right. I kind of thought we were going to get down this road here in this year. We're going to have maybe some twofers, or same albums at least. All right. So my side two is I'm going to go with Phil Collins off the But Seriously album, Another Day in Paradise. This is a beautiful song in my mind. It addresses the homelessness and poverty and starvation, people on the streets. Very powerful song, relevant today, timeless topic. It's got that do do do. It's a real gentle kind of melody, and then the drum coming in. Don't think twice. Another day for you and me in paradise. Kind of a play on words. Mm-hmm. And my second track is from Lou Reed's New York album, Dirty Boulevard. I love this song. This is a masterpiece of songwriting, real poetic, descriptive imagery. Again, life on the streets, by somebody that witnessed it. I love so much talking about Pedro and all these characters on the street and what's happening to them. And, you have to seek this record out if you haven't heard it. As only Lou Reed can do it. You know, it's really genius songwriting. So I wanted to put it on my list.
My favorite album. Yep.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah.
My third track is from Chris Isaac, A Wicked Game. This is sort of country folk, soft rock, very haunting tune though, musically and lyrically. I like his voice too. This is one where he gets up into the stratosphere a little bit, and it becomes an instrument unto itself. Is the way he uses his voice. It's about dreaming of somebody that you know you can't have. They're out of your league. You know, and he's saying the woman's playing a wicked game on him because she's beautiful and alluring, but she knows and he knows that it's not going to happen. And this was used effectively in that movie with David Lynch, Wild at Heart, starring Nicolas Cage and Laura Dern, I believe, is the actress in it. They made it. I think there was a video with it as well. My fourth track is kind of, you know, this isn't really me, but it is the '89 Fine Young Cannibals. She Drives Me Crazy. I love this song when it came out. It's a very minimalistic kind of music. You know, it's got that do 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 do, you know, and that high pitched voice again by the lead singer, Roland Gift. Pure '80s. It's got like a snare drum, I guess is what it is, and that little riff. Number one song in the U.S. It was recorded at Paisley Park, Prince's studios, of all people, which I didn't know until I researched it. You wouldn't think that Prince and the Cannibals would have much in common, but he must have saw something in him and said, "Here, I want to use my studio, record this," and the monster hit.
Yeah.
My fifth track on this side is from Don Henley, one of my guys that I fall back on of the Eagles. This is a Don Henley solo album called The End of the Innocents, and the name of the song is The Heart of the Matter. This is like an ultimate breakup song. Deep lyrics, getting past that pain and suffering. And then he keeps coming on with the chorus. It's about forgiveness, even if you don't love me anymore. And again, the Heartbreakers appear on here. Mike Campbell co-wrote the song, plays lead guitar, and Stan Lynch, the Heartbreakers drummer, is playing drums. So they're all lending each other's talents to making good music in this period. And I'm going to end my side and album with Mike and the Mechanics, The Living Years. Came out like Christmas Eve of '88, but really the world got to hear it in '89. So I put it on my '89 album. This is probably my favorite song of the year. A guy dealing with the unresolved issues of his now dead father, and basically he's saying, you know, I wish we could have dealt with this when you were alive. And then here's some of the lyrics. I know that I'm a prisoner to all my father held so dear. I know that I'm a hostage to all his hopes and fears. I just wish I could have told him in the living years. And then the chorus, the choir comes in. It's an all boys choir, I believe. Say it loud, say it clear. You know, it's too late when we die to admit we don't see eye to eye. Really, really strong song. If you had issues with your own father, you can relate to this like I did. And that's why it had to be on my list.
Yeah. It was a late cut for me. But I love this. I love the song. I mean, I love Mike Rutherford's voice in it. I think Tony Banks played the keyboards for him in the song. And didn't Paul Carrick do some work with? Paul
Carrick is actually the lead vocal.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Paul Carrick of Squeeze fame. He's the one that sings it.
It's great. I mean, I like it. So I know it's kind of like maybe a guilty pleasure song that most people wouldn't associate me liking, but I do. And I mean, I never had a relationship at all with my father, but I could see how it could be a powerful song for somebody who maybe had a difficult one. Yeah.
Well, in my case, it was one where we didn't speak for a while and then he died. So I definitely relate to this song.
Right.
And that's why it's a personal favorite, because I wish I had that back.
Yeah. So. We did hit on one.
You know what? To be honest with you, Rich, it's a great tune.
Yeah.
And Brian said it was his last cut. It was my second last cut. I think it's a great song, you know, and some of they're all personal. We all got guilty pleasures on our list here somewhere, I think, anyway, Brian. So it's that's going to come out in our list that we do. But you want the truth, Rich? Sounds like 89, brother.
It does. Yeah,
It does.
It does.
To me. That resonates with me.
Yeah.
From 1989. Yeah.
absolutely. I like it.
All
Gotta
right.
follow that up now, Brian. It's up to you, brother.
Here we
Yeah,
go.
I know. Well, we did have one hit there, Rich. We'll get to it. So,
All right.
all right. So, leading off my side one, I've got "Running Down a Dream" by Tom Petty from Full Moon Fever. I just love the guitar in
Yep.
it, you know, and the I mean, it's just a great
That's it.
cruising song, kind of like a nice song to kind of start off an album, I think. It's kind of hilarious that even on Spotify, they have like this ending to the song in which he's telling you to take time out because there are people who actually own cassettes and records have to flip it over to listen to the other side. So he said, take your time. He said, pause for a second, let those guys catch up or whatever. It's kind of funny. Puts that in there. But so I got Petty leading me off. The second song I chose was from the Cults from Sonic Temple. I've got Fire Woman here. Obviously, this is the second time I've chosen the Cult. It's kind of a late find for me as a band. I really didn't listen to them when I was in the 80s. And this song was just okay for me, but I went back and revisited it, and I really like the jam. It's kind of very much close to metal, but still a lot of glam rock elements to it. I know we just discussed that with Living Color last year.
Yeah.
And Cold really sounds glammy in this particular tune. I like the song a lot, so I wanted to put it on here, keep with that rockin' theme on this side. Number 3 for me, I've got Faith No More from the Real Thing album. I've got Epic.
Epic.
Yeah, Mike Patton is, you know, this was like funk metal, kind of new metal.
Yeah.
A bit of everything. They even called it rap metal at the time. So basically he was doing new metal before bands like Linkin Park or Korn or Alice in Chains even. He was already doing it here, and I maybe underappreciated at the time. Mike Patton is one of those guys, though, that his later albums are just really weird and obscure, kind of went off the deep end as far as creativity goes in some ways. But I think this song was probably his magnum opus that he's most well known for. Very interesting music video where at the end where there's this flopping goldfish, you know, flopping out of the water, and it's kind of flopping on the floor. And I'm like, what the hell is this all about? Right. You know, good song though. I remember it very well. Number 4 for me, I picked Elvis Costello's Veronica here.
Good song.
From the album Spike. I'm a huge Elvis fan now. At the time, it had probably been my second favorite Elvis album. Now it's like maybe my 5th because I've gone through so much of his catalog and stuff. Yeah. But most of the bass work on the whole album Spike included Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney helped write this song with Elvis Costello. You know, it's got this great narrative about this elder lady, you know, who's kind of reminiscing in her head about the times when she was young, and the boys used to always be interested in her and try to woo her and things like that, and how those days have now gone, you know, and all she has is the memories of them calling out her name all the time. And you know, it's kind of this sweet little narrative that way. I really like the song. Very well written. Number 5 for me, I've got The Cure from Disintegration. I've got Pictures of You. This is like definitely the magnum opus for The Cure and their career, where they really kind of took off. I know they said that during the course of the album that Robert Smith was doing a lot of drugs at the time, so he was in that really depressive state. This was one of those songs where I guess he had an apartment fire or something. He was going through some stuff and found an old photograph of somebody, and this kind of clicked in his head. He had this idea for the song about, you know, the memories that are the only memories he has now are within this picture. That's all he has left, you know, to kind of remember about this person. So he kind of wrote about it from that perspective. Very goth, emo type of stuff, but mixed with a lot of power pop and synth pop sounds that they became notorious for with this album, and then and subsequent albums like Wish in the early 90s and stuff. Closing off this side, I've got, like Rich had, I have Chris Isaak's Wicked Game here. What I remember most, like Rich said, it's kind of this country-esque rockabilly type of sound that Chris Isaak has, very unique. I remember the music video where the girl did such a tremendous job portraying what the song was actually about.
Absolutely.
The girl did not look like she wanted to be in that video, and she definitely did not look like she wanted Chris Isaak rubbing his hands all over her and trying to kiss her. she just looked like she was pissed.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you know, the money must have been good. That's all I can think of why she agreed to be in this video. But it's a great song. I love his voice in it, you know, and I know that it like you said, I think it was recorded in '88. It was originally released in '88. Didn't go anywhere until the David Lynch movie came out, and then it got repushed again, and then the song became a huge hit. So wanted to include it on my side one. So that's side one.
Very cool, buddy.
Love it. I love that you included that song. And Petty, you know, you have him represented. You could have went 5 or 6 ways with Petty off that album.
Yeah.
So many hits and deep cuts as well. But those are the two that stand out for me, not being a Cult or a Cure guy. What do you think, Doc?
I'm more of a Cult guy than the Cure guy. I'll say that. So if I was leaning towards the C's, I would go that way. But once again, man, it's 89, and it's to be honest with you, like I said, I'm a Cult guy before I'm a Cure guy and stuff. Like Cure were huge, man. These bands, I think that's like it wasn't in my wheelhouse. It was more in yours, obviously. But that represents, man. That tells you what 89 was all about, and it keeps going that way, man. So I think, buddy, it's bang on, man, for 89, if you ask me.
And a good Elvis Costello song too.
Nice. Yeah, I love it.
I like that one.
Yeah, it would definitely be in my top 10 Elvis Costello songs of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
I can you know, I can
a lot of great songs.
When you said that epic tune there, Brian, I can think of what is this? That's all I can see.
Yeah. What is it?
What? I can hear it all right. Yeah, that dude was whack, man. I think in one sense, but
yeah, Mike Patton is he's his own beast.
Yeah.
And maybe that didn't help him down the road, you know, but
maybe not.
Yeah, big tune, man, and huge tune from '89, man. Very high on my list. Didn't make it, but it was very high on my list, man.
Right. All right, so now it gets really weird on the second side, like it always does for me. So, you know, if we're gonna hit, we better have hit on something on that first side, or it's over. Leading off second side, I've got Camper Van Beethoven's cover of "Pictures of Matchstick Men," song originally by Status Quo.
Yes, I remember
back in the 60s. This is from their album Key Lime Pie. I really like Nick Lowry's really crazy voice that he has. It's almost like he's talking. He's not really singing, which is kind of indicative of a lot of alternative rock in the mid and late 80s anyway. Key Lime Pie is a great album altogether. I could have picked this, or another song was called "I Was Born in a Laundromat." It's actually, I mean, it sounds really funny, but it's actually a really good banging tune. But I went with Pictures of Matchstick Men, you know, something that's a little bit more accessible, I think, people who know it. I went with my second track. I've got the Smithereens, "A Girl Like You," from their album 11. I'm a big fan of theirs. I like Especially for You and Green Thoughts, but 11 was like the one that became the pop mainstream album for them. Had hits off of there like Blues Before and After and Blue Period were also on this album. But "A Girl Like You," just a straight up rock tune from D'Annunzio singing here. I'll be honest, I've seen him perform live a few times. His voice is not very good live, so he's definitely Smithereens are definitely a production-based band. They sound good coming out of the studio, but they've never sounded good live for some reason. Instrumentation-wise, they do, but from a singing standpoint, he doesn't hold up well. And
not good.
Didn't hold up well. Number 3 for me, I've got, this is kind of a really obscure one, but I got into them like in the last year. I've got the Pixies from the album Doolittle. I've got Monkey Gone to Heaven. It's considered widely by a lot of the underground magazines to be the best alternative album of all time. Doolittle is.
Whoa.
So this song's about environmentalism really, and it has some elements of numerology in it as well. It's basically, talking about how we treat the environment, how we treat the ocean and stuff. And then there's some obscure parts in there too, where the person does something, against nature, and then he ends up dying. And then of course the joke is the chorus itself, when it says, "This monkey's gone to heaven." He's basically talking about us, that we're monkeys, right? And we're going to heaven for doing stupid stuff. So great song. I love the whole album, and I had to pick a track off of there. So I went with this one. It's been on plenty of other soundtracks throughout the years for various type of teen angst types of movies and stuff like that. So number 4, I've got from the Beastie Boys, from Paul's Boutique, I've got High Plains Drifter. They had already broken from Def Jam Records by the time they made this album. Just one album later, they went to Capitol Records. They did something that they totally wanted to do, which was mostly a sample-based record with the style of rap that they wanted to do, not the stripped-down stuff that Rick Rubin kind of made them do. And commercially, people just didn't buy it. I mean, they wanted the old Beastie Boys "Fight for Your Right to Party" mixed with hard rock stuff, but in retrospect, now people are starting to understand just how good the album actually was compared to "License to Ill." Everyone's saying it's now far superior. It just took 30 years for people to figure that out. I knew it then. I thought it was great. I still think it's great now. High Points Drifter samples "Those Shoes" from the Eagles throughout the song, and it's just basically like a neo-Western tale about these guys on the run from the law, and it's just great. I love the back and forth rap. I've expressed that before. Number 5, I've got Bob Dylan's "From Oh Mercy." I've got "Most of the Time." Talking about relationships that have ended and your inability to deal with those things, and he talks about the things that he says that he doesn't miss about the relationship, but he always ends it with the phrase "most of the time," understanding that we really haven't had the ability to accept the fact that when we're in pain, that it's okay, and that it's okay to acknowledge that we still miss things about that person and the failed relationship. So, and closing it out, this one here, I had like I said, I had like 4 songs to close this thing out here. I really wanted to put all of them on there, but of course we can't. I just settled on Michael Penn's "No Myth," the brother of Sean and Chris Penn here, who got his and ended up becoming kind of a one-hit wonder. Not really in the sense I'll get to that in a second. I mean, this is a kind of a great song. I think it's really well written, very catchy. The guitar works really nice in it. But I mean, Michael Penn's gone on to do a lot of soundtrack stuff. He does scores for like movies like Hard 8. It was one that comes to mind. Boogie Nights. He does a lot of soundtracks for.
Really?
Paul Anderson. Wes Paul Anderson, is that the guy who did the direct?
Yeah, that's what it makes up.
Yeah, Paul. Yeah. So he does a lot of that type of stuff now instead of actually like writing songs and stuff. I think one critic said it best is that he kind of gets in his own way, because after No Myth, he tried to intentionally write things that were not commercial and just really good music. And of course, you're talking about trying to survive the early 90s with what came out with the grunge scene and the hip hop was becoming huge, and there just wasn't a place for that. And I think that's why he became just a one-hit wonder and kind of falling away to obscurity. So, but I love this song, and I wanted to include it as my final cut. So,
yeah, I like that song, "No Myth." I can't believe I missed that one, because I remember that song well, and I did like it. It's well written, and he was married to Amy Mann, the singer from Till Tuesday. And you're right about the Paul Thomas Anderson movie.
Oh, from Till Tuesday.
Yeah. Paul Thomas Anderson, he does a lot of the soundtracks for them. And so did Amy Mann. She did the soundtrack for Magnolia.
That's right.
Had a lot of Amy Mann songs in there. So very cool. I feel like uncool though listening to After All, because you have all the cool stuff. You got the Pixies and the Smithereens and the Beastie Boys and the Cure, and here I am with my lame Eric Clapton, Don Henley, Bonnie Raitt, Phil Collins. I'm like middle of the road, and you're like the young hipster there. So that's cool.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell I'm going to be then. I got no idea what I am then.
I'm counting on you for the hard rock coming at us, man.
Rocky, I mean, you got to bail us out here, Doc.
I mean, I got no idea, boys. I guess we'll see how it goes, because I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a Doc album. That's all I'll say, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll listen to all this anytime. So if I kick it off, man, yeah, you're right. Geez, I forgot the name of the album there. Oh, I think Brian just left us.
Brian left us. Come back, Brian. We'll wait a second.
There we go.
Well, wait a second. There he is. He's back. Well, before I start it, that's good, Brian. That's good, buddy. Yeah. So we all got a Tom Petty tune, eh?
Yes.
So I'm starting off mine with "Free Fallin', Boys."
Yep.
So,
wow.
3 different ones. Very nice.
3 different ones.
So I said we might hit on the album. And then there might be a couple that we hit on or close to and stuff like that. But yeah, you could have had many. This album is, like Petty's got a lot of really good albums, man, and the Torpedo. Southern Accent's my favorite.
Right.
This one's probably right behind it. And there's a lot of good albums, man. So Yeah, Free Falling. I think Rich, you touched on it earlier there. It's could have had 5 songs on this album right out of the gate, and then the deep cuts come in and behind it. So you could have like 8 songs really if you wanted to get into it. And yeah, just the feel for the song, Free Falling is, you know, we talked about it a few times on here, man. Those nice and easy songs that are ear pleasing and simple to listen to. Sometimes it's this is the way my side's going to go. And like we all got Tom on here, man. I don't think it's no problem having any Tom on an '89 album, man. Free Falling's going to start for me.
Good start.
Now this one, you might have saw this coming, you might not have saw this coming, but you know, I praised her on my last video of '88. So she comes out again, I think '88 or '87. So, but Melissa Etheridge has another album out, and I've got her coming in right behind that with No Souvenirs off of Brave and Crazy, her second album.
Very good.
I'm kind of a fan of Melissa, man, and yeah, it's a tale of heartbreak and everything else and stuff like that. But she's a great storyteller, man. Pretty smooth writing, easy. She can play the guitar pretty good, man. And when she wails good too. So, I told you before, when she showed up, she'll show up again, and I'll tell you again, she'll show up again in the future too. So, yeah, I like her. I like her music, man. What can I tell you? It's not all of it. You know, come to my window or something like that, I'll pass on. But she's got some cuts and some beaver cuts out there that I kind of like. And if you like that style of music, it's really good music, man. That's what I can tell you. And this one you guys did not see coming. Number 3, you did not see coming. I'll tell you that right now. I got The Want of a Nail from Todd Rundgren coming in at number 3.
Never saw it coming.
Never heard it.
Told you. Oh, man. Bobby Womack is on backup singing this there from the Womack brothers. So this is soulful. He's got the horns. He's got like gospel sound. To me, it's Todd Rundgren's best tune. And now Todd Rundgren is, you know, high praised in the music world and stuff like that. He doesn't hit with me on a lot of his music and stuff like that. This tune stuck with me since '89, man. So still love it. Still got it on my phone. Still listen to it. It's The Want of a Nail, man. You gotta give that a tune and listen if you haven't heard it. Soulful, bluesy, great horns, great section, great backup gospel vibe to it, singing. It's just a great tune. Could have been sung at almost any era. And that's my third one in for '89, man. So number 4. Probably didn't see this coming either. I got no idea. I got Seeds of Love, man, from Tears for Fears.
Wow.
Yeah. Told you.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I'm expanding too in one sense. Well, maybe on this side I am. But the second side, but it's side A, or it's like we talked about it before when they had their songs from the Big Chair album out.
Yeah.
You know, and I think we all gave them a little bit of praise. You know, it's a really high-end album.
Yep.
It's not a bad follow-up, man. And this song is really, really well put together too. You know, Seeds of Love. You can hear it in your head, you know, sowing the seeds of love. Once it gets in your head, man.
Yeah, I remember.
It was a big song. Like I said, it's a polished song, man. And I like stuff like that sometimes when it's crisp. It's really cool. It's an easy listen. It's just an easy flow tune. And those guys did it really good, man. And it wasn't in my wheelhouse, but you know, over the years, this song's grown on me, man. This is a great tune. So it's gonna hit. That's my number 4. I got number 5 with some Phil Collins too, Rich. So I'm all over the map like you in one sense, but not. I still think it reps. So, but I wish it would rain, man. It's gonna come in with that one. So,
Yep.
Top tier Phil Collins tune, man. And we talked about it before. I've mentioned it, and I think you guys have been in agreement there. Phil Collins does not get a lot of love, I think, in a lot of ways, man. This guy pumps out so many friggin' songs. When you start going through the years, man, look at this guy's catalog with him, solo, Genesis. Guy's talented, man. Frig.
A lot of soundtracks.
A lot of soundtracks.
Yeah.
The guy is a very talented man, man. I don't know what to say.
Yep.
Doesn't get talked about a lot. I wish it would rain, but you know, it's got Clapton on guitar for this one. Very melodic and easy again. And Phil sounds great, man. You know, Phil doesn't get a lot of kudos even for his singing and stuff like that too. And he's a really good singer too, man.
All right, he is.
Yep. Gonna follow that up on my last song on this side anyway. Is gonna come in with something off the End of Innocence, because I think that album from Don Henley is fantastic. I love every song on that album. I don't care what anybody says, man. That album freaking rocks, man. That's an easy one too. But Heart of the Matter is the tune to go with, and that's the one I went with too, Rich. So
Cool, I like that.
yeah. And you could have had 8 songs. I could have literally had 8 songs off that album. I really honestly could have, man. Yeah.
It's strong.
Yeah. I don't dislike any songs on that album. Let's put it that way. I listen to that all the way through. Heart of the Matter is fantastic, man. Everything you said, Rich, man. This is, you're trying to get that. It's Don Henley, man. His voice is addictive listening to me. And I know he's out there as an asshole and everything else. And one side, I'm listening to music, man.
You got to separate it.
He's an asshole.
Yeah,
but I love
separate
his music.
Right.
What do you want to hear?
You're not asking them to come to your kid's birthday party. You're asking them to sing.
That's right.
I agree.
It's a great album. It's a great song. So I'm going to end my side A.
Yeah, I agree with you. I tend to separate their personalities, like athletes and actors and whoever, politicians even, you know, whatever the venue is, that's what I judge them on, not their extracurricular activities or whether they clamp down on YouTube like Henry does and that kind of thing. But I'm glad you had Phil Collins. Phil Collins has shown up at least 4 or 5 times on my list through these years.
Mine too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's showing up. I don't know what it is. I tend to like the guy, and you know how I am with Henley and the Eagles. So
I had a later cut from that album, but it was Something Happened on the Way to Heaven.
Oh, no way.
I love the horn arrangement in that song. And I love songs that only mention the song title one time in the entire song. That song is only mentioned, the title is only mentioned one time.
I like that song too, and I believe that's going to end up on my 1990. I think it's one of them crossover ones.
The crossover years.
Yep, I love. That's one of my favorite Phil Collins songs. Melissa Etheridge, I think she's right in your wheelhouse. Tears for Fear threw me for a loop, and Todd Rundgren. I don't know the song, but I will check it out when we get the
I wrote it down. I got to check that out.
I'll check that.
Yeah, I think you guys will like that tune, man. It's not Todd Rundgren, but it is. That's what I'll say.
Yep. All right.
Starting off side B, I guess, boys?
Yep.
Yeah.
Glam, heavier rock, man. What can I tell you? Yeah, would you ever think I'd have Motley Crue kicking off my side here, man? But frig I do. Yeah, this is Glam. Kickstart My Heart, man, is a great polished rock song from '89, man. That's what it is. This is a Bob Rock. You can tell by the production. This is Bob Rock produced. It's like a Mutt Lange thing. It's however you want to put it.
Mm-hmm.
These guys get their hands on something. Listen, these guys are not the most talented band. These guys are not those. They squeeze in a few here and there. This song rocks, man. Kickstart My Heart, man. If that doesn't get you going, you know, as a rock song, not many will, man. Yeah. I guess Thunderstruck will come up in another year or two or whatever, but you get the idea, man. Kickstart My Heart. I'm going to tell you, I didn't think Motley Crue was going to make my list, man. That album, Dr. Feelgood, is actually not a bad listen, man. That's what I'll say.
Not bad.
Nope, not a bad listen at all. A lot of good tunes on there, actually. Like, you can listen to them. Then, going to follow that up, man, with Great White. Go figure, eh? Once Bitten, Twice Shy.
Oh, yeah.
And great cover of the Ian Hunter tune, man. To be honest with you, I like Ian Hunter's version of it, obviously. This is a better version for me. It's heavier, definitely more rocking, more in my wheelhouse of, like I said, I like Ian's version and it got here because of that, but Great White's only here because of Ian. So,
and you like the girls in the music video, and we know that.
It's every band member and every girl in that video all have blonde hair. It's really weird.
Daisy Duke shorts,
leather, jeans, jean jackets, whatever. Man, they had it all. So it's just a great cover. It's a good rock song again, I think, and Sure, I was listening to it in '89, man. If it's on now, I'd listen to it again. Going to change a little now. I'm going to go to some Stevie Ray Vaughan, man. Crossfire coming in right behind it.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. I feel kind of bad I didn't have any Stevie earlier, to be honest with you, because I do like a lot of his stuff. So
yeah,
I'm happy this was here. This fits the bill for me, man. This is classic Stevie Ray Vaughan, man. Southern rock, bluesy guy wails on guitar. Frig Stevie Ray Vaughan, man, can sing, and he doesn't get any credit for that. Everyone talks about his guitar playing, which is obvious. The guy can play. The guy can sing, man. Yeah. He can belt it out pretty good, man. You know, I've been stranded. You know, you can hear it. God in the cross. It's a great tune, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's a Doc 89 song, man. That's what I can tell you. For sure. They all are. I don't know how this guy is actually, you know, he's got a couple albums out there, and I don't know, this one's always been with me too. This song anyway has. I got Let Love Rule from Lenny Kravitz coming in right behind it.
He's got a lot of good stuff, yeah.
Yeah. And he has maybe a couple albums, you know, but we're talking 89 and like 90s or something like that. But I mean, we're still saying his name like tomorrow and stuff like that, you know. So he's done pretty good for his career, I think. Mm-hmm. Let Love Rule's a really good rock song, man. Nice vibe to it. Starts nice and slow. When it kicks into the chorus and stuff like that, it's rocking, man. And pretty good backups to it and stuff like that. You can almost hear them singing, you know, let love. It's almost got like a 60s kind of vibe to it in one sense. It's peace and love almost, and let love rule. And you almost feel that Lisa Bonet might have touched that once in a while they're going through or something like that, even at the time. So got my Canadian boys coming in right behind that there, Brian. That's where I thought we might have hit, actually, if you want the truth, brother. So I got New Orleans is Sinking from the Tragically Hip coming in right behind it. Yeah.
It was hard to leave them off.
Yeah. Debut album for the Tragically Hip here in Canada, and very big in Canada. This song is have a lot of different meanings. Lead singer Gord Downey, man. The guy he's got a unique voice, great storyteller. They write good bluesy, almost southernish kind of vibes to it.
Exactly. I mean, you listen to them play, you would think, geez, these guys are from Louisiana bars.
Yeah. You know, I'm thinking about the song itself. Yeah. But I mean, it could come across almost on anything, but you know, presentation for them is a lot of things, but very hooky acoustic catches and stuff like that from these guys. This one's a rockier tune. But New Orleans is Sinking and I Don't Want to Swim, man. It's a really good tune. If you don't know it, check it out if you haven't heard that one. But it's for my boys here from Tragically Hip. It's coming in number 5. And I had a tough time figuring out how I was going to close out my album, man. I had a lot of different songs that I want to get in there and stuff like that. I went with some classic 80s glam rock is what I did to end it. So I started the side with Kickstart My Heart from really heavier glam. And I'm going to Bad English. The Best of What You Got from Bad English to end my side. First time I heard it was Tango and Cash. Always liked it. The end of Tango and Cash is where it's from, which might make an appearance in another list, but not for good reasons. But no, it didn't. So, but John Wayne can sing, man. It's just a good 80s glam rock pop song, and that's where I'm going to put it. I think it fits 89. I think it's a good way to end the year, and you get the best of what I got from Bad English is going to end my side.
Well, I have to say, side 2 sounds a little more like Doc than side 1.
Yeah.
I probably listen to side 1 than I listen to side 2.
See, yeah, I would rather listen to your side 1 too, but knowing you have a lot of your hard stuff like Once Bitten, Twice Shy, Stevie Ray, Motley Crue, Bad English, Lenny Kravitz, and Tragically Hip, all on side 2.
Sure do.
Whereas
I thought for sure, I was like, wow, Doc is going in this totally new hip direction. And then it's like you hit the side 2, and I'm going, this is all Doc's rock again.
That's definitely him all the way.
Well, side 1, I had to throw the curve at you, but listen, if I was to listen to that album, and I'd listen to my side 8, probably listen before my side B. That'd be the truth.
Your side 1 had 2 curveballs: Tears for Fear and Todd Rundgren for me.
Yeah.
And of course, Phil Collins, Don Henley, Petty, and Melissa Etheridge. They're stuff that I can listen to easily. But that's great. You balanced it out. All 89. So you covered that year well.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. No trifectas.
0.
I called it.
I think we only hit on like maybe an album, or all 3 of us hit on an album. That's it.
Yeah, we had Full Moon Fever, 3 songs
covered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what else did we? I don't think we hit.
Actually, me and you, Rich, had Heart of the Matter as our song.
And
That's
you
right.
and I, Rich, had Wicked Game.
That's right. So we each had that going on. What did you guys have together, other than the nothing? Right?
We had nothing.
We had nothing.
Yeah, I thought it was all match.
I think Doc thought I was going to have the hip. At
I
least.
did.
That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah, this didn't quite make it.
Well, I'm thrilled you had Heart of the Matter. I think it's a fantastic song.
Yeah, that's a good song. And I also had, as an honorable mention, I had the Outfield's Voices of Babylon. I don't know. I've always kind of liked that song. I mean, it's different for them. I've seen them in concert a couple of times when I was younger.
Oh, you have, eh?
Yeah. And I like
what
that
was their
song.
big song? What was their big song? That was last year.
All the love, and then remember they had all the love in the world. Remember that?
That's right.
That was like their big, huge tune.
That was a massive tune.
Yeah, that was their massive tune. But I mean, they opened up for Night Ranger in the concert that I saw. So 2 bands that kind of fit together. Same, just hair bands basically. So
well, other than Petty's whole album and Henley's whole album, the other honorable mentions I'd like to single out. I had Rolling Stones' Mixed Emotions, which I've always
so did I.
Yeah,
I like that song. And if it wasn't for Neil Young and his bullshit boycott of Spotify, I have Rockin' in the Free World. I would have had that.
right.
But I'm not giving him any love until he goes back on Spotify, just for selfish reasons.
Right. I'm the same.
I had Mixed Emotions too, Rich,
Yeah,
down on my list.
It's a good song.
I had Skid Row's I Remember You. That was a big
Oh my
tune
God.
too.
Yeah.
Wow.
I remember it.
Good row.
I also had I Go to Extremes was the Billy Joel album song that I had.
Yeah, that was
I like
my
that song a
runner-up.
lot, actually.
Yeah, I had Down Easter Alexa from Stormfront.
That's another good one. All 3 of them. We didn't start the fire, and the 2 you mentioned were all contenders.
And I think Show Don't Tell from Rush too. I mean, you might not like and stuff, man. Awesome bass line in that friggin' tune, man.
Yeah. Very
Well,
cool.
awesome. That was 1989 in a nutshell. We didn't hit on any trifectas, which is fine because at least everybody gets a chance to see 36 different songs. An opportunity to broaden their horizons a little bit. So just a reminder to everybody, please like and sub or comment down below. That would be great. Also, make sure you click on the link to the movie channel, which will take you over to Rich's channel. We'll see our top 10 movies, which will also be released on the same day. Check out the Spotify list. Check out our older videos. Big thank you to Rich for joining us and Doc for joining us as well. I really appreciate you guys showing up tonight, and I'm glad the weather held out so we didn't get any weird storms or power outages. So I'm looking forward to the 90s, guys. I know some of you are. But
here we go.
We'll be fine. So thanks, everybody. You guys take care, okay?
Take it easy. Bye.
Bye-bye.